Well, I'm live. I don't know that anybody is going to see this. We'll have to see. All right. Well, it says that I'm live. I don't know if anybody else is here. Oh, good. So am I? Looks like I am streaming. I think I created another one. Is the video any better, or is it? I mean, I'm still unattractive, but I mean, am I clearly unattractive, or am I blurrily unattractive? The video looks good. Okay. All right. So, lesson learned: do not do local recordings when live streaming. That is good to know because I did this with StreamYard because during the podcast that I do, it says it's still not 1080p. It should be. Should be 1080p. It does say I'm streaming in 1080p. I don't know where the settings are. Let's see. Settings. Yes. General. Full definition. Okay. It does say full definition. So I don't know if it's 1080p there. Okay. So some people are getting 1080p at least. And I don't think anybody was getting full quality before. So that's the thing. Anyway, I went with StreamYard because it does this thing where you can stream but also record a local copy. And I could have done that just with OBS. But the advantage is that with StreamYard, if I'm doing a podcast with multiple people, each person does a local recording. And then at the end, I can download all of their local recording that it didn't have to go through the internet and get pristine quality audio and video for the actual final product. But lesson learned, when you're doing a live stream that is supposed to actually have some quality, don't do the local recording because it apparently really messes with that. So thank you all for helping me troubleshoot, and I apologize that it got wonky. And I didn't move enough, so that was not the fault of StreamYard. If it's StreamYard, yeah, it can and it can't. I think some browsers actually can use your graphics card, but the last few months I've done Restream, which is also a web-based thing. Maybe. It uses their stuff. I don't know. Well, I don't know anything about technology. Who am I kidding? So I might end up just using this for the podcast, but I really liked the way that it did the comments, though. I think that looks pretty slick. So who knows? Thank you again, everybody, for your patience and for helping me troubleshoot that. That was annoying at best. This does have some interesting things. Like I could also put up banners. Let's see. Learn everything. Do what you love. And most importantly, be kind. And so this is a sort of thing where I should be able to, so I could do really cool just banners across the bottom. That's fun, I guess, but it is what it is. It says it's 720p for Lewis, 1080 for some. I don't know what that's all about. If it's been better in the past few weeks, that was using the Restream IO. So it is what it is. I guess live streams aren't the same as pre-recorded video uploads anyway. So it is what it is. But nonetheless, I appreciate the troubleshooting, and I probably will go back to Restream for next week just to see if it's awesome and better. And I'll use this specifically for podcasting with other people. Banner. Oh, look at you showing your age. Okay. Lewis is now selling. Look at that, right on an overlay on my live stream. The audacity. This episode of Live Streaming with Sean is brought to you by whatever Lewis is selling. Oh boy. So has everybody else had a better week than me? Now realize that is a very low bar because, like I said, it has been just a miserable week. Oh, the birds. Have you heard the birds in the background? I had that video that we were playing just running in the background the whole time. So there are no actual birds. They were just the recording. If I make the full, it goes 1080p. If I watch and tell everyone it's 720. Huh, that's weird. I'm going to blame YouTube for that one because, I mean, if YouTube has access to the 1080, it should give that to everybody, in my opinion. Not sure if that's what distro is my fave. So this has changed over the years. For the past couple decades, the answer would have been simple for me: Ubuntu. I have been a Debian user since before Ubuntu existed, and then when Ubuntu came out, I think the very first version was before version 504. I think there was a 4.10. I did not use that one. My first version of Ubuntu was 5.04 because I was a Debian user and grumpy that they were just using Debian. But the installer was so great that I'm like, okay, this is just Debian with a really nice installer. And I've been using Ubuntu ever since, until the computer that I'm on right now. I had so many issues trying to get Ubuntu to work with the graphics drivers and the different scaled monitors and the one rotated scaled different monitor. So I had so many issues that I went back to trusty old Debian. And while it was a little bit more challenging, I have to admit, I kind of fell in love again with just plain straight up Debian. So I've been playing with Debian specifically on my computer, but like for a server, I still like Ubuntu Server. I do. I just really like Ubuntu Server. And so I'll, like if I'm spinning up a container in like my Proxmox cluster, I generally spin up an Ubuntu Server, headless kind of container because it's just, I'm familiar with it, I guess. And there's a lot of support. If there's an obscure project, people make it work for Ubuntu because it's the most popular distribution. So that goes against the grain of my whole underdog theory of usually the underdogs who I root for. Sometimes I'll just take the easy way out, and Ubuntu is that. But Debian based, that's a safe answer. That's the too long didn't read version. My favorite distribution is a Debian based distribution. Not because it's better, because I'm most familiar with a Debian-based layout of how things work. So, yeah. And I answer that too. No, it's I mean, this is the same computer I use at work. I work from home. This is my day job computer as well. And I SSH into servers. And all the servers at work are actually running Ubuntu Server. It was required for the project we were running at the time. That was the... required may not be. It was the recommended distribution for the software we were running, and there was no reason not to use the recommended software. So that's what we did. And they're all running Ubuntu. But yeah, my work computer is technically just my personal computer here, and I SSH in. So would it be okay? There's a specific career question? Heck, by all means. I may not have a great answer, but yeah, there's not really anything off limits here. I mean, we can talk about favorite sodas if you want. Let's see. I've been using Ubuntu forever, and recently was a very nice surprise when I heard Zorin. What is Zorin? Is it another Debian-based one? Is it based on Ubuntu? 'Cause it's funny how things have gone from being based on Debian to now being based on Ubuntu. It's almost like 2 degrees of separation there. So I'm curious about Zorin. Martin has been using OpenSUSE. TW? I'm not sure what TW is. OpenSUSE TW on my laptop since November. So when I was on the Linux Journal team, I almost feel like Linux Journal doesn't exist anymore, but I know that it has been purchased and it is still technically a company. But back when we were actually, I don't want to speak ill of the current owners. Back when I was involved with Linux Journal, the guy who was in charge of our servers was not me. I was a writer and video guy, but the guy who was in charge was of the server stuff was a huge OpenSUSE fan. That's all the servers that Linux Journal used in the back end were running OpenSUSE. And that was my experience with it. It worked fine. I never had to do any of the maintenance on it. And again, it's all Linux, right? So a lot of it is just personal preference as far as, what things are integrated better, if you like certain package management systems better. So let's see. After I tried Ubuntu, Spinza distros, Mint, Lubuntu, Kubuntu, Zorin, 300, yeah, Zorin, okay. Yeah, I never really got the feel for Mint. I know Mint is super popular. I tend to use, if I'm going to use an Ubuntu desktop, it's almost always going to be Ubuntu Mate, just because I think that GNOME, or GNOME, however you want to say it, peaked during the version 2, and that's what Mate looks like is GNOME 2. So that's, again, just my old personal preferences. Can I ask a general question? Follow up or... yes, just to be clear, you can ask away any questions. I am an open book, and I'm perfectly comfortable saying, oh, so by all means, throw anything at me. Hopefully I'm seeing all of them. Okay, Zorin is Ubuntu based. Cool. Yes, and I knew that Lewis was a Fedora fan. In fact, we had this conversation. It's probably been a month and a half or so ago. I have a Dell laptop, like one of the Dell laptops that come with Ubuntu. It was like I don't remember what it's called. It's like I don't even know, but it specifically came with Ubuntu, and it was like designed for developers from Dell. And I installed Fedora on that just because I wanted to get used to, using another distribution. And I tried, Lewis, I did, but everything was I just didn't like it. I had to like Google how to do something that I would just normally just do off the top of my head. And so it was, I installed Ubuntu Mate on that laptop, partially because the laptop is green and Ubuntu Mate has a green theme. I have to admit, part of it was why I went to there. But yeah, and also with laptops, Ubuntu, and I'm sure Fedora if you're used to it, but Ubuntu is really good about just hardware support out of the box, which was, again, laziness motivates me largely. Started on Red Hat in 2000, yeah. And then went to 2004. Yeah, so to be clear, on the server side, I have used Red Hat based stuff. I used, CentOS before it was CentOS. What is it now? Stream? Is that what it's called? CentOS Stream? But back when it was like a Red Hat Linux clone, I used that back in the early 2000s when we were running Linux terminal server for thin clients in a school district. All the servers were running CentOS because all of the developers were using Red Hat. And so all the stuff was, could have been run on another system. But again, that juice wasn't worth the squeeze. And so I just ran it on the same hardware the main developers were using. And then, but then I think like as I was leaving the school district and, the thin clients weren't going to be used anymore, Stefan Graber, I probably pronounced his name wrong, but I think he was hired by Ubuntu, I think. And so maybe now the Linux terminal stuff is based on Ubuntu, but I haven't used it in years, so I'm not sure. Do I have any system for managing multiple servers for SSH? Open a dashboard that has all your servers on a list, and you just click connect. For my day job, I do. And it's a paid thing, actually. I don't pay for it. Termius is a pretty decent, just a nice way to arrange. And let's see if I can. I probably can't because these are all work stuff that's there. Yeah, I can't show you. Let's see, personal servers. Okay, I can show you a little bit of this window. Termius, I don't know if there's a free version of Termius. Like I said, this is a paid version. And it has, it does a really nice job of storing keys for you. And in fact, you can sync your public, or you can sync your private keys, which I know is a little bit scary, but you can sync your private keys through to different computers automatically using their system. And so here I'm gonna show you all but the connected servers. Okay, yeah. Does that? Yeah, okay. Making sure I'm hiding everything. I don't want to get fired. Let's get rid of this. So this is Termius, and it just has, yeah, I mean, it just keeps track of all your stuff. There are others that do. I don't know their names off the top of my head. I generally, I always use passwordless authentication, key pairs to connect to all the servers I connect to. And for my personal work, I generally just do, I just SSH to a host name. I don't really necessarily keep a list, so that's generally how I do it. It sure beats remembering passwords, though. I absolutely love SSH key pairs. I think it depends. Possibly the distribution itself. I don't know. I haven't ever had issues with Ubuntu itself not crashing, but when you're running software that's specifically designed and tested on Ubuntu, in that case, a lot of times it can be more stable than running it even on Debian or whatever that is can be more stripped down and other stuff out of the way. So I mean, as with everything, right? There's no silver bullet. I really do like Debian on this computer that we're on right now. I absolutely just love it. It's it makes me feel special, and I'm nostalgic for the old days. I'm literally still, after all these months, I'm still using IceWM as my Windows manager, and I love it. I have no intention of going back because it just does everything so nicely. I'm going to start my IT career as a Linux admin, working with Linux distros only. Okay, I'm torn between if I should get a network cert like the CCNA first, and then get a Linux Plus or LPI cert. So if you want to be a Linux admin, both are, I mean, of course the answer is like, get all of the things. Depending on how far along you are in IT itself, how comfortable you are with stuff, the nice thing about a course like Linux Plus or LPIC 1 is that it gives you a really robust look at working on Linux. Does it make you a system administrator from stem to stern? No, but the things that those courses teach you give you kind of like a tool set to pretty much do whatever and specialize on things. LPIC 2, I have taught some courses on LPIC 2, and it's more complicated. But the thing about LPIC 2 is it teaches a lot of very like second level, thus the name LPIC 2 stuff, but very rarely are all of the topics covered in LPIC 2 going to be used by any one person in their day-to-day job. So while I'm not against the higher, more advanced courses, I like that when they go to LPIC 3, for example, there's not one specific, like, this is the, like, LPIC 3. No, there's different LPIC 3 like modules that you have to choose from because it just gets specialized, right? The more advanced you get, the more specialized it gets. So whether you go with Linux Plus or LPIC 1, which I think are comparable knowledge-wise, that's going to give you the tools to actually start a career, right? I think I would want to have a job where I know what I'm going to be doing before I necessarily went like to LPIC 2 for more advanced stuff. That said, CCNA will teach you things about networking that the Linux Plus or LPIC 1 just barely graze and touch on. But that understanding of networking that you get from like CCNA and possibly Network Plus, I haven't looked at, I'll be honest, I don't know anything about the Network Plus course or the cert from CompTIA, so somebody please chime in. That networking knowledge is so valuable in IT. It's more than Cisco stuff by far. In fact, when I taught CCNA, and it has been a while, Yes, you certainly worked on like Cisco routers, and you had to learn iOS, not the iPhone version of iOS, but the original, Cisco router versions of iOS. You learned to program those, but the large bulk of it was learning networking concepts. And I found that incredibly valuable to my everyday work in Linux and networking in IT in general. It helps troubleshooting things. If you understand how networks work, it can help you troubleshoot a Linux problem because maybe it's network specific and it isn't specific to Linux. So I think that by bringing both CCNA and like Linux Plus up, that's awesome. And which to start with, whichever one interests you more, I guess makes the most sense to me. Or maybe the one that you are least comfortable with so that you get that knowledge down and then you can build on that. Just know that I think understanding both is vital to somebody who's going to be a Linux administrator as a job. Is there Linux certified or Ubuntu certified hardware? I actually didn't. I didn't know there was such a thing. JW, there is a free version of Termius. Cool. I think probably what the paid thing does is it allows a team to like sync things. It doesn't sync your private keys with somebody else on your team, which is good because I wouldn't have agreed to that, at least not with my own private keys. But it will sync like hosts and stuff. So like if you have 100 hosts, it'll like sync with your team. But it's good to know that there is a free version of Termius. That's cool because it'll probably sync between your own installs if that's what you want to do. And it's a nice program. I mean, I like Termius. Okay. Single device. Only single device. Oh, that does suck. Okay. I guess. I mean, you get what you pay for. Tilix. So that's something worth checking out. Like I said, I would listen to other people because my day job employer pays for the Termius subscription. So I haven't looked for anything like that for myself. But Tilix, check into that. Santiago would not steer you wrong on purpose. Hardware certification. Oh yeah, this is true. And again, there's no silver bullet when it comes to stability in hardware, etc. Let's see. Oh, I didn't even listen to the second part of your question, Chef Dediapa. I'm so sorry. Or just disregard getting network so you can go for the Linux one entirely. So to answer the second part of the question, even though I probably stepped all over it answering the first part, don't just disregard the network stuff. Even if you don't get a certification and somebody else might have a better answer to, it's probably going to vary company to company too. Again, certifications generally don't get you the job. They generally get you through the automated filters about getting an interview. And then the interviews are what will get you the job. But I wouldn't disregard the networking stuff because those Linux exams, while they touch on things like IP subnetting and like layer 2 stuff with MAC addresses, it's not really an understanding of it that they teach you. Whereas with CCNA and probably Network Plus, like I said, I have not ever taken Network Plus. It's just invaluable to know networking a little bit more what's going on. So even if you don't go for that cert, definitely look at some of the content created for it because it's really important to know more about networking than just the Linux courses will provide. mRemote next generation. Yeah, that's good all around RDP. Okay, so check that one out too. Santiago mentioned Tilix, and then Shane mentions mRemote NG. So check that out too. I certainly. So my saying Termius was not my. What's the word? Not validating. Not my. What is the word? I'm not vouching for them. That's just what my day job provides. Have I not been getting messages on Twitch at all? Yes, I have. Shane, I'm sorry, and this is probably an old question. Yes, I have been getting them. I think I popped it up, right? Did I pop this up? That one's from Twitch. Okay. Yes, I think I have, I am getting them. I don't know that I've addressed them all. Again, I'm kind of bad. Absolutely. Yeah. I'd like to share some videos with you throughout the week too. So hopefully next week is going to be better than the previous week. But that's a low bar as well. Thanks for sticking around even after this past week of like producing no content at all. So thank you for your patience. Oh, this is interesting. So, so on YouTube, people are not seeing like the cross-posted messages like they did before. Oh, that's good to know. All right. That actually answers for me that next week we will definitely go back to Restream because I very much prefer people to be able to communicate cross-platform. That's the whole point of multi-streaming. Thank you for pointing that out, Lewis and Shane. I appreciate that testing for me. I'm a little grumpy. Yes, play with Termius, but again, mine wasn't a. I cannot think of the word I'm looking for. I'm not vouching for it. I'm not saying this is what you should do, but that's what my day job provides, and it works fine. CCNO is a great foundation. Oh, we're almost out of time. So I'm going to try to get through the rest of the comments. And again, thanks everybody for being so patient this week. And next week, hopefully we'll be back to how it's been, maybe a little better. Net Plus seems a whole less value in the real world. Okay, that makes sense. Scott, I appreciate that too, because like I said, I had never, ever looked at the Network Plus from CompTIA. I know CompTIA generally has good stuff, so I assumed it. I mean, I assume it's probably a good thing, but probably, yeah, it makes sense that CCNA would look better on a resume, only because it's Cisco, right? I mean, they're like the golden child of certs or whatever. So yeah, CCNA. And now there's new stuff that I don't understand, but CCNA is all CCNA, and then whatever the endorsement for being a teacher is. It was all I ever got from Cisco. And like I said last week, when I was at CBT Nuggets, they already had Cisco trainers, so I never taught any Cisco stuff when I was at CBT Nuggets, and haven't taught Cisco stuff since the early 2000s, mid 2000s at when I was working at the school district. Can I post a general question to all here? Oh, okay. So I did pop this up on the screen, but not everybody else saw it. Is there an appetite for follow-up quiz post assignment? Yeah, and I'll add to this too. Please, everybody who's interested, join the Discord too, and I'd love to have these conversations go places, so you don't have to depend on me for betterment, because I'm unreliable, as this past week has proven. Advocating, that's a good, yes. I don't know if that was the one I was looking for, like the term I was looking for. I'm not, they're not sponsored. They're not sponsoring this video. Yeah, I'm not advocating for them. That's probably the word I was trying to remember, but that works fine. Mason, yes, thank you. You're probably already gone because I'm slow to getting this, but yes. And I will use the other software next week because this was a little bit frustrating for everybody, myself included. Thanks for mentioning Termius. Yes, absolutely. And we're already past time, so I'm gonna do these really quick and then I'll go. We're in a packet loss. Networking team firewall. Oh yeah, that's an exactly. I mean, understanding networking is just vital. I wish that the Linux Plus and or the LPIC 1 stuff had a little more networking basics, but I guess that's why they have other courses. And so yeah, definitely at least look at CCNA level stuff so you understand it. No one got fired for recommending Cisco. That's true. Yeah. Xpun, welcome. Yes, and I think the live streams are normally a little more successful. So come back next week. Vouching. Yes, that is the word I was looking for. I think. Did I say vouching? No, I said vouching. That's why I got excited, because I remembered saying it. I don't know what I was looking for. Y'all understand what I'm saying. Termius is fine, but I'm not promoting it. I'm not suggesting that's the ideal one. All right. All right. Yes, I'm going to have to go because I can just live stream all day, crappy video or not. Thank you, everyone, for joining and for coming back because, I mean, we stopped and started again. And lesson learned. We will use Restream or just OBS to a single platform. But I like the multi-platform thing. So next week, we'll be back to hopefully working better. And thanks for helping me troubleshoot. And there will be a weekend assignment next weekend, unless things go horribly sideways all week, but I don't plan for it to. And with that, have a lovely day. And I'm going to go get a glass of water because I'm getting parched. Have a great one. Oh, learn everything, including networking. Do what you love. And most importantly, be kind. And you guys have that one covered by coming back. So thanks, and I'll see you next time.